Okay, if you're on 14A and you need a little bit of help and you're like, how do I find out all of these different things, the x-axis, the y-intercept, or the x-intercepts, the y-intercepts, the axis of symmetry, and the coordinates on an equation like this? So there's a couple things that you need to know right away. That you should be able to recognize that when the formula is like this, right? We call this standard form. And what do we know? What did we just learned in our previous lessons? What can we easily see when our equation basically is in ax squared, sorry, I want that to be ax squared plus bx plus c. So that's basically our standard form of our equation, right? So whoops, control Z. I want that to be control period. There we go. So we know that the C is the y-intercept. So when you see that C right there, the C is the y-intercept. Okay, so right away you can tell, like on this graph, and I'm going to have to take a screen capture of it because I can't really write on here, which is kind of a pain sometimes, I know, right? Okay, so here we go. So I can tell that -9, way down here, I'm going to take my marker, let's use blue, and I'm going to put my y-intercept right here at -9. That is going to be my y-intercept, okay? So that's the first thing that you need to know. Then you're like, okay, well, how do I figure out the rest of this? I mean, okay, sure, I just did my y-intercept, but how do I get my x-intercepts? Well, this is where you have to turn this from standard form into factored form, right? So then you would say to yourself, if I want to get this in factored form, I ask myself, what multiplies to -9 and adds to -8? Because I've got to get it on that x minus something, x plus something. So let's just think about that for a minute. What multiplies to -9? Well, 9 and 1 and 3 and 3 are really the only factors of 9. So 9 and 1, yeah, I could make a combination of them. I could say -9 and +1 fits that solution. So my factors, I rewrite this and I go, my factors are x minus 9, x plus 1. Okay, we call that factored form. And that's, if I ask you to convert that to factor form, that's what you do. It's called decomposition. You've done some exercises on it, and you have to reverse engineer your brain and go reverse engineer using your brain that equation and think, what goes together there? Okay, well, now I go back to my little graph and I go, okay, well, what are my x-intercepts? I can tell my x-intercepts. I can easily, we can see the x-intercepts from factored form. Super easy, right? If we take the inverse. Now you might think, why do we have to take the inverse? Well, think about it. If we have x minus 9 equals 0, right? We can easily see that x is equal to -9, right? We see that, right? So you have to remember, you get your factors, just like they would normally be, you plug them into those bracket spots, and then you have to reverse it, right? So then you have to go, okay, inverse. So if I have a -9 and a +1, okay, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put in a +9. Okay, so here's my one x-intercept and -1, and that'll be my other x-intercept. So my problem is going to go like do some point of a vertex down here and back up, like, so it's going to look something like this, but I don't know what my vertex is yet. So now I have to find my vertex, right? Because I haven't found what my vertex is going to be yet. Maybe I'll just take all the colors off for a hot minute here. All right, so now I'm going to get my vertex. Well, I know, right? Just look at your graph. And you're like, okay, well, if I've got one x over here and I've got one x over here. I know the middle of them is going to be my x, right? It has to be, because that's what the vertex is. It's the min or the max. And in this case, it's going to be the min because it's a normally opening parabola. So I'm going to take my x-intercepts, which are -1, and I'm going to take 9. I'm going to add them together because I got to get the middle point of them, right? So I've got to add them together and then find the middle point. So just divide by 2, right? So that's going to give me 8 over 2. That's going to give me 4, right? Voila! So now I know that my axis of symmetry is going to be is x equals 4, because that means it's going to cut. Like when I'm looking at my parabola, right here is where my axis of symmetry is going to be. I'm going to do it in a different color here. Let me do orange. So here's my line 4. So I know my parabola is basically going to cut this puppy in half somewhere right in here, right? I don't know where yet. So now I've got my x of my vertex, but now I have to find my y of my vertex. Well, guess what? I have an equation. I can go x squared minus 8x minus 9. And I'm going to put this in a square. So I'm going to select it and then control period makes it that. Okay. So now, well, if you're wondering how I did that little 2 in a subscript, you highlight it and then you do control plus the period key. So now I'm going to figure out my y. So now I'm going to say my y is going to be equal to 4, right? Because I already know my x. I just figured it out in the line above. So 4 squared, I'll put that on in a minute, minus 8 times 4 minus 9. Okay, I'm going to put my square on there, so I'm going to select it. Okay, so now I'm going to figure out what my y-axis is going to be. That's going to be 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 8 is 32. And I have a negative. It's negative 8 times 4. And then I have a negative 9. So I can do the math on that, and I can see that it's 25 negative. So my vertex is going to be 4, negative 25. And vertex is always written in an ordered pair, right? So where's my diagram? Here it is. So 4 minus 25. I'm going to be way down here. I'm going to go back, get my blue. I'm going to go way down here. And there is going to be my vertex right there. And I'm going to label it 4, negative 25. And your writing is going to be nicer than mine because you're probably doing it on paper. All right. And so then I have to connect the best that I can using my smoothest arms. That's not bad. There's my parabola. All right. So that is what you need to do. So then double check. Did you show me the x-intercepts? Yeah, they're on the graph. And it's actually asking me to state them too. So I guess I could do this, x equals negative 9 and x equals, that's a positive. Oh, look at you guys didn't even correct me. That would be positive 9. If it's x minus 9 equals 0, then x just equals 9. Look, I almost made that mistake twice now. And then x, because we're taking it right from here, right? Right from here. X minus 9. So you set it equal to 0 to figure out what the actual x is. So if it's plus 9 on one side, it's going to be positive 9 on the other side. Oh, my goodness. Good thing I just came back to rewrite my x-intercepts. And let's be even really clear. So x-intercepts are x equals 9 and x equals minus 1. I like my little color coding system here. Okay, so, and I'm just showing you the reason why it's like that, right? So then you figure out your factors, you put them in the brackets, and then when you actually chart them, you have to flip them. Why? Because you have to set the you have to set the factor equal to 0, and then the sign will change, right? Then figure out what your vertex is going to be because you've got your 2 x's. So figure out your middle point and then plug it back into your equation to get your y. What other color? We didn't use yellow, did we? Oh, we used yellow at the beginning on the factors. What other pretty color can we use? We used pink. We didn't use... We'll just make a blue. There we go. All right. So again, I personally think it's always better to print these out, but You know what? If you are like me sometimes and you're like, no, I just want to do everything on the computer. Notice how I did that. I screen captured it and then I did the graph, and now I can go copy and I can paste it back in there. And there is my first one, right? And then I would even put these all on a separate page, Control Enter to get down to the next page. All right. Hopefully that helps. Reach out if you're stuck. You have to be able to recognize, you know, this is your factored form, or this is your standard form. Your factored form will be, we call this the factored form, is when you have the factors, right? And then we want to get your vertex, your axis of symmetry, and you're making sure you're clearly labeling all of these. You can do this.